thank you for watching. I want to talk to you today about one simple action to fast track your life. Now notice I said simple. I didn't say easy. It is simple, but it's going to take some effort on your part. You know, I only know how to speak from experience. So before I tell you what the simple action is, listen to this story. I read this story about natives in Africa who would use certain bait. They would set up these cages to try to trap monkeys. Well, what they did was they put these cages up and they put an object inside, something that a monkey would crave, certain foods or even like an unusual object to grab their attention. Well, the bait would lure the monkeys to the cage, but the monkeys were too smart to actually go inside the cage. But they would put their arms through the bars and they would pick up the bananas and they couldn't pull them through the bars. It was too big. The object was way too big to fit through the bars, so the monkey would just stay there. Well, the only way the monkey could actually go free was to drop the bait. However, he refused to let go of the bait. Here's the thing. The monkey remained trapped because he refused to let go. They said that they would kick and squeal and, make all these crazy noises, but they refused to let go. Here's what the article said. They stayed trapped in bondage because they refused to let go of the bait. Well, the bait I'm talking about is the bait of unforgiveness, the bait of offense. Do you know that that is Satan's bait? That's what he will use to keep you trapped in bondage. You could be praying for your dreams, your goals, you're motivated, you're developing greater discipline in your life, you're determined. But do you know that holding on to unforgiveness, holding on to all those pains that have been caused to you, that will keep you in bondage? I'm telling you from experience. I remember hearing a story years ago that Joyce Meyer told about a school teacher who had her class get a bag of potatoes. And she said, I want you to take out one potato and write the person's name on there who hurt you, write the date, and if you refuse to forgive them, put that potato back in the bag. She said the bags were full of potatoes. And this is what the teacher said. I want you to carry that bag of potatoes with you for 1 week, everywhere you go. I mean, everywhere. No, whatever. You had to take it everywhere. She said that it was disgusting. By 1 week, can you imagine potatoes that have been carried around everywhere in the hot sun? If you go to a football game, you got to take your potatoes. You go to bed, put the potatoes in the bed with you. If you, ride around in the car, put the potatoes in the seat next to you. If you ride the school bus, carry your bag of potatoes. Go out to eat with your family. Take the dumb potatoes. She said by the end of 1 week, the potatoes were slimy and mushy and they stunk. She said it was disgusting. Well, here's what the teacher was saying. She said the potatoes are nasty, they're slimy, they're embarrassing. Your friends don't even want to hang out with you because you got to take your dumb potatoes. She said, but unforgiveness is the same way. You're carrying that around with you everywhere you go. Not only is it heavy, it's weighing you down, it's slimy, it's nasty, but here's another thing. Your friends are tired of hearing about your potatoes. They don't want to talk about the potatoes because everywhere you go, you got to mention the bag of potatoes. It's the same with unforgiveness. And I'm not trying to make light of it because I know what it's like to be carrying unforgiveness, to be carrying hurts and pains, and I have a right to be mad. I have a right to be upset. But here's the thing about forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't make them right, it makes you free. That's a huge point. Forgiveness does not make that person right, it makes you free. Listen to one of the definitions of forgiveness. It actually means drop it. Drop it. Just like those monkeys with the bananas, just drop it and let it go. When you choose to just drop it, then you go free. That's the whole point. You get to move on with the plan of God for your life when you say, you know what? I'm tired of carrying this around. I'm just going to drop it. And like I said, it's not easy, but it is simple. So, years ago when I was at that place in my life where I'm ready to move on with my life, I'm tired of just circling the same mountain, the same issues, the same circumstances year after year. The Lord actually told me to get out a piece of paper and write down all of the memories that came to me that caused hurt in my heart. So I started at the top, just got out a single sheet of paper, and I wrote at the top, in the name of Jesus, I forgive. And I wrote number 1. I wrote the person's name, I wrote the date if I could remember it, and I wrote details of the memory. I mean details. And I just wrote it out one by one. every memory that came to me, that meant it was still there. It was still causing a little bit of pain, so I wrote it down. Stuff started coming up that I didn't even know I remembered. Well, by the time I got finished writing all of that stuff down, it was a stack of paper. I didn't see that coming. I wrote all of that out. Then the Lord said to me, speak it out loud. Just let it out. So I held that paper up, and after I'd already brought all those remembrances, to the forefront of my mind, I actually said out loud with my mouth, Father, in the name of Jesus, I choose by faith to forgive. And I just read it out loud. I read the story, I read the memory, I read the pain. It made me think about Jesus when he hung on the cross, and he said with his mouth, Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. You may have heard Joyce Meyer say this, hurting people hurt people. That person who hurt you, they probably weren't setting out intentionally to hurt you. The thing is, they were hurting themselves, and they just lashed out by hurting you. But most of the time, it's not intentional. It's just their actions caused hurt in our lives. So I thought of Jesus on the cross, and that's why I said, in the name of Jesus, I choose by faith to forgive them. Number 3, the Lord told me, rip it up. Rip it up. I thought, all that work I just did? He said, rip it up. And in Ecclesiastes, the Bible actually says that there is a time to keep and a time to throw away. It's time to throw it away. Do you know what I did? I took those papers and I ripped them up so small, never to be put back together again. Plus, I would be really embarrassed if anybody saw the puzzle pieces put together. But I just ripped it up as if I was ripping it out of my heart, out of my memory, out of my vocabulary. I didn't want to talk about it anymore. I don't want to rehearse this stuff anymore. I ripped it up into little pieces and threw it away. And I'm challenging you to do the very same thing. There may be memories that, maybe you thought you forgave, but when you think about that person, it's still there. Or there's just a little bit of yuckiness in your heart, a little bit of resentment, a little bit of just pain that still surfaces from time to time. Do what I did. Get alone with God, write it down, and don't worry about someone else reading it. Don't put it in a place where someone can read it. But this is between you and God. It's not between you and everybody else. This is you and God. Get it out. Get it out of your heart. And then speak it out loud. Sometimes we can just sense a certain amount of freedom just by releasing it out of us. And then rip it up. And tell the Lord, I will never put this together again. So, that is the simple action that I believe can just fast track your life. I mean, you can go from where you are to where you long to be. So choose today to drop it, let it go, and move on with your life. If you're enjoying these podcasts, please subscribe to this channel, share it with your friends, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, so I can keep you motivated to fulfill your purpose. Also, ladies, if you are planning to join me for the Icing Conference, it's just an annual event once a year, absolutely free. I'm going to teach you how to make a dream board. I'm going to teach you how to get your clarity about what you want to do with the rest of your life. It's free, but you got to register at terri.com/icing. Hurry up, time's ticking. I'll see you there.